This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
I was sitting in a friend's kitchen in Seattle, Washington, in 2015. It was the first time I'd been in her sweet little home, and I'd brought her a set of candles as a house gift. After graciously inhaling the beeswax and finding a place for the candles, she paused, looking uncertain. She was holding the ribbon in her hand, hovering anxiously over 3 bins in the corner. Her gaze shifted between a nearly empty trash bin, an almost full recycling bin, and the overflowing organics bucket on the counter next to her. She glanced up at me ruefully for a moment and then dropped the ribbon into the trash. "When in doubt, throw it out," she said. My friend later explained that Seattle had introduced that phrase as part of a recent campaign to train Seattle residents to avoid contaminating their recycling and organics with non-recyclable or non-compostable items. She told me that some of her neighbors had been fined for putting garbage into their recycling. At the time, I had never lived anywhere that even had curbside composting, let alone catchy slogans to educate residents about how to compost or recycle properly. Clearly, Seattle was serious about waste management. Boston, where I had been researching solid waste management for the past several years, barely managed to recycle. In 2015, Seattle diverted nearly 60% of waste generated in the city from the landfill. Boston didn't even keep track of all the waste generated within its borders. Why is Seattle so serious about garbage? Why is it so different from Boston? Are the differences between the two cities' waste management practices meaningful? Is an emphasis on recycling evidence of greenwashing, a superficial effort to appear sustainable? Or worse, is it just an example of what sociologist Samantha McBride calls busyness? Keeping people distracted from real environmental and social change with meaningless action? In this book, I argue that waste management in our cities can differ significantly, and that the differences matter a great deal. Garbage is, after all, much more than just the stuff we throw away. Garbage is also the very tail end of a global system of extraction, manufacturing, and consumption. Though we may think of consuming as a momentary experience, the point of purchase, unboxing a new device, eating something, it is actually just one link in a long chain. The chain begins with the extraction of a raw material from the earth, either through mining or harvesting. The chain then snakes through layers of manufacturing and assembly and packaging and transportation to market, where products are purchased. These links are then followed by the inevitable waste making and waste processing. On the front end of the chain, consumption demands the extraction of raw materials through mining, scraping, drilling, clear-cutting, monoculture, and other environmentally devastating processes. On the back end of the chain, there is garbage. But waste is generated all along the chain, not just at the end. Think tailings from mining, liquid and gaseous emissions from factories, agricultural production and freight transport, scrap from production processes, overproduction. The last link of the chain is only the waste generated through the process of consumption itself. Packaging, discarded single-use items, broken things, the things we bought and then tired of. This trash, a very small segment of all the waste generated in our economy, is the trash we are all familiar with because we handle it every day. It is the part of the global extraction, manufacturing, consumption, waste chain that we all interact with daily, and that, in the United States, municipal governments control. Municipal governments decide what materials to collect and how, and they decide what to do with what they collect. Garbage is stuff we don't want. It is the product of a global chain of economic activity, and It reflects crucial material and economic interrelationships between cities and the global economy.